Hey there guys, what is going on? We're back with my boy Frankie Woods here in, of course, the Cold War beta, which is, I believe, now open to pretty much everyone. I'm sure there's going to be another test very, very soon as well, but I mean, this is definitely one of the best class setups that you can go with. I know we featured a starter class setup yesterday, but this is the best XM4 class setup that you can go with right now in the Cold War beta. Basically, there are attachments to this particular gun that do essentially change the entire dynamic of how you play with the weapon, and they do take a while to unlock. So this is one of those things that you'll have to get later on once you have leveled up the weapon to max, but these attachments are very, very good, and this class setup works amazingly well for me. Just before we do get into it here, make sure you hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on if you have not already done so. I do very much appreciate it, and it does very much help me out. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into our best XM4 class setup here in the Cold War beta. Now, of course, do keep in mind that this is all subject to change at some point. They are keeping a fairly close eye on the weapon balancing in the game, and I'm sure they'll make changes where they do deem necessary. But with this particular class setup, we've leveled it out to max. We've tested out a lot of the attachments here, and I believe this is the best option that we can go with at the moment. But we'll start off with our secondary as we normally do. The best shotgun in the beta, of course, is the Gallo SA-12, and it's a sidearm, which is absolutely hilarious. You get a 1 to 2 shot kill with this, and it shoots very, very quickly. It's way better than the Hauer 77, which is really goofy. Anyway, as for our attachments, I mean, we can really throw whatever we do like on here. They're not super important. It is basically just going to get those 1 to 2 shot kills most of the time. But yeah, you can pretty much choose whatever you do like on this one. As for our tactical and lethal grenades, we're going with the stim shot, of course, because getting that extra chance per life is, of course, very, very nice here. I'm not a massive fan of stun grenades. I think they're a way to get a cheap kill, and I don't really like them at all. In the lethal slot, I mean, a frag grenade is always a useful option in this game. Semtex is good too, just because it sticks to things. C4, another good option as well, but I'm choosing the frag at the moment. In the field upgrade slot, we do, of course, want that field microphone, just to give us that extra piece of sort of knowledge. When you put this in a fantastic area of the map that covers like a couple of different places, including like a major point, you can be unstoppable with this. Basically, you just have unlimited knowledge of the map, and it makes it feel very, very good in this game. As for our wildcard here, we're going with Lawbreaker over Gunfighter. I don't think we need 8 different attachments for the weapon that we're going to choose. I don't think it's necessary to have every single slot filled. So of course, Lawbreaker does allow us to equip any weapon class in either slot, which is not super important for what we're going with. And then you can equip multiple perks from one category, which is way more important. Speaking of our perks here, we're not taking anything in the perk 1 slot. Of course, Flak Jacket and Tactical Mask are nice options, but we're skipping over them here. In the perk 2 slot, we are taking Tracker, which does get us that enemy footprints on the ground. I've not actually seen this an awful lot. Like, footprints are a little bit difficult to see, but I mean, this is always a useful option for be able to flank people and know where enemies are going, and it's an easy way to take people out. And then in the perk 3 slot, we've got 2 perks here at the moment. We got Gung Ho, which does let us fire your weapon and use equipment while sprinting, move at full speed while reloading. It's just a very good option here, and allows us to switch weapons faster, which if we are using that particular shotgun style where you want to switch weapons as soon as we do get a kill, and just in case somebody comes around the corner, we can blast them away. And then of course Ghost, which makes us undetectable by those spy planes, which is really, really nice here when you are moving around and stuff like that. It's very, very nice option in this game. Makes it very, very hard for enemies to track down where you are. If we're feeling particularly spicy and we do want to get another perk in the perk 3 slot, we can also take Ninja as well. We can leave Tracker off and then maybe even take Ninja, take 3 perk 3s, which is absolutely hilarious because being able to move more quietly, we haven't unlocked that just yet, is really, really nice in this game. As for our attachments for the XM4, we're going for a great combination of easy to control recoil, excellent damage range with some of these attachments, and just a really nice clean sight picture, fast aim down sight speed. But let's just jump straight into the attachments here. Starting us off here with the Millstop Reflex Optic. This is a fairly early unlock in the optic slot, but it does give a really nice clean sight picture without having a too super sort of thick frame. It's a really nice option to get that sort of little bit of extra zoom, and it makes it very, very easy to kill people at sort of those close to medium ranges. The muzzle slot, this is a late unlock. We want that agency suppressor for that 100% radar signature fade, which basically means when we do fire, we are off the map pretty much all the time. And then of course that vertical recoil control increased by 10%. This does actually reduce our effective damage range by 33% and our muzzle velocity by 25%, but in the barrel slot, we've got an absolute monster here. The 13-inch paratrooper barrel does give us that increase of 100% effective damage range and that 40% increase to our muzzle velocity, which does counteract the effects of that suppressor, making this an absolute monster in this game. For in the barrel slot, bullets just absolutely hose out of this thing. They do so much damage. It feels really, really nice here. In the underbarrel slot, we are going for that field agent grip, as this is the best option for maintaining that easy to control recoil. We get that 20% increase to our horizontal recoil control and a 6% increase to our vertical recoil control. This is a fantastic option in the grip slot as well. Infiltrator grip is always nice to increase that sort of mobility, shooting movement speed, aiming movement speed. Base movement speed is a nice option, but I feel like the field agent grip just makes us more accurate here, and this is something that you're more easy to rely on with an assault rifle. And lastly, the handle that we are going for here is the Warden Tight Grip for that aiming speed and aim flinch stability. You can take the Task Force Rear Grip for that 25% increase to our aiming speed, but I feel like the Warden Tight Grip for that flinch resistance is really, really nice here. So when you do get shot, you sort of stay on target a little bit more effectively, and you still get a nice increase to your aim down sight speed. As we do normally with these particular videos, we're just going to jump into some gameplay here and show off what this particular class can do, because it is an absolute banger in this game. And if you do manage to level up your XM4 to the max level, this is the class setup that you should go with right now. I feel like it's fairly common knowledge at this point that the best map in the Cold War beta is, of course, Satellite. This is, for me, the best feeling map, of course, in the game right now. I'm sure some of the other maps are going to feel very similar to this, but this just feels like a Call of Duty map for me. A lot of the other maps feel good, but I mean, they have their spots where it's like, I don't really dig this too much, you know what I mean? Like, they just feel a little bit off sometimes, but this map it just feels nice. Like, there's a lot of different ways you can go. You can play a lot of different ways. Like, if you're feeling particularly spicy, you can go out onto the sand dunes and try and snipe people, which feels really, really nice as well. If you're feeling particularly, like, close up and personal, you get in these tunnels and stuff like that, and you just blast people away. I mean, of course, we are not going to play very well as soon as we turn the recording on. I've been stopping people all morning, so we're probably going to get skill-based matchmaking here, which, I mean, yay! That makes quality videos, but I mean, what are you going to do? It is the experience that a lot of people are having in the game right now. It's interesting, like, I'm a little bit torn about how I feel about the skill-based matchmaking in this game, whether it actually exists or not. Like, I mean, it's sort of an easy way out for people to complain about losing and stuff like that in their games, when they can just say, oh no, they were better than me because the skill-based matchmaking got to me, when it's just like, maybe they were just better than you, dude. Maybe they were just better. I don't know, it's hard to define the skill-based matchmaking in this game without having a look at the code and stuff like that, and that's not something we're ever going to do, because we don't really care that much. Just want to come into the game and have a good time. But I mean, playing against people who are as good as you or even better than you does feel kind of bad sometimes, but I mean, I imagine it feels equally bad for the people who are just getting stomped, like, you know what I mean? Like, it feels equally bad for both parties. Like, when you get stomped, it feels bad. When you are doing the stomping, it feels bad for somebody else. So it's not something that they can just be like, yeah, no, turn it off and the game will be fine, because a lot of games in the series, including some of your favorite games, including like Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 2, stuff like that, it was recently confirmed on Twitter that all of them had skill-based matchmaking in some capacity. It's just sort of the flavor of the month buzzword. But I mean, with this particular class setup that we got going on right now, we get a great combination of everything that we like about the M4 in these games. I mean, easy to control recoil, we get that sort of silencer, which means we can control our accuracy and stay off that radar really nicely. It's just, this is probably the best class setup in the game at the moment. I mean, there are probably better options, and I've spent a lot of time with this, and it feels really, really nice in most situations. What is that dude up to? Man, I feel like literally every gunfight I have in this game is literally just a 1v2. Like, I'll kill someone, they'll be like, yeah, move on. And then another person will come around the corner and I'll immediately die. Also, if you're using stuns and flashbangs in this game, grow up, dude. Grow up. It's not 2010 anymore. Use something else. Use something that'll keep you alive a little bit longer. That's what I'm talking about, the sand dunes. You come over to the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the map and you just see like these big open sand dunes, and you're like, well, that's surely for long-range fights. Well, if you move correctly down here, it's really not just for long-range fights. I mean, obviously, you're very, very able to get picked off down here, which is not ideal. Like, that's not what we're after. But if you lay down and move at appropriate times, like, you really can just sort of move around the map quite nicely. Like, can be a little bit tricky, of course, because they do now know... Well, that's bad. They do now know where we are, so they can just chuck grenades over here and take pot shots at us, but... I mean, you know. See that damage range there? Oh, really? Really? That is upsetting. It does feel really nice to have the regular minimap back, though. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of the games I've had in the beta have been just positive. Like, only just positive. They've been fairly even for the most part, and I've only had a couple of games where I've been, like, absolutely stomping people, which... I mean, of course, that feels bad, but, like... We're in trouble, yeah. Too many grenades here. Of course, Flak Jacket would help with that, but then we lose one of our better perks. I mean, it is a trade-off that you have to make here. It's interesting because I'll turn on the recording after I've had a couple of good games, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm warmed up. I'm feeling good now. Like, we should be able to get some work done. We should be able to go into a game and have a good time. And then because I've warmed up and I've played well, I'll get put into a game where I get absolutely stomped, and that feels really bad for recording videos. But I suppose it makes the game at least kind of fair. Yeah, like, look at these sand dunes. This map is so nicely designed. Like, you just come over here and you get these rolling sand dunes, and you're like, man, this feels excellent. And you just pull off a huge flank on the boys, and you're like, man, how did I get away with this? It just feels really nice to flank over here on the sand dunes.
Sit rep. Enemy attack helicopter above.
That does, of course, feel kind of bad when you do get taken out in those close range engagements, or those long range engagements rather. Like, people just pick you off because you're on the sand dunes. But if you get lucky, you can usually get through without too much trouble. Of course, this has not been a very good game by any stretch of the imagination. Do we even go positive 16-18? No. Oh, man. Every time I turn on the recordings these days, like, just die. So as of recording this in the beta, right now, this is probably the best M4 class setup that you can go with. Sorry, XM4. It's different to the M4A1. Yeah, this is probably the best class setup that you can go with this particular weapon at the moment. These two attachments here in the muzzle and the barrel just basically change up the entire gameplay loop of this gun, make it very, very accurate, stay off that radar, and you just absolutely funnel shots into people, and it becomes very, very easy to hit those shots. So this is a fantastic weapon at the moment. Of course, this could all be subject to change, as I did say previously, but this is the best XM4 class at the moment. You get great combination of everything that we like about the M4, and it's really, really easy to get kills with this, even though we didn't do a great job of it in the gameplay that you saw. Anyway, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on if you have not already done so. I do very much appreciate it, and it does very much help me out. We're working our way towards 3,200 subscribers very, very soon, which is very, very exciting, and I would very much appreciate you helping me get there. Thank you very much for watching this one, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!